refuse to lose. I'm built to win. Applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win. Yeah. Refuse. Mine, it can't be diffused. If you ain't thinking the same, then we playing by different rules. You can't see the vision, we living at different views. Until we complete the mission, keep getting up, never snooze. I walked a mile in my shoes, had the mind of a fool, chasing diamonds and jewels. Trust me, I was confused. Started minding my business and used my mind as a tool. Ended up finding my purpose and found the time to get to it. They told me I couldn't do it, they told me I couldn't make it. They sold it, could never break it. That's sadly mistaken. I need a piece of the pie, I want it so bad I can taste it. They told me like Toby, keep on running toes, they gon' take them. Refuse to lose, built to win. Applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I pay for the cost, I'm winning to win. Yeah. Refuse to lose, I'm built to win. Applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win. Yeah. Refuse.
Welcome back to CTC. I'm your gracious host, Carl, and I'm back with another episode. In today's episode, we will be going over this week in college football, week 3. Now, before I do that, I would like to ask that you leave a like, comment, share, subscribe. It helps the channel, it helps the network, it helps my channel, CTC, by the way of Refuse to Lose Network. Now, as you can see, had a bad week 3, man. Still a positive overall record, but a bad week 3. But like I said, we'll get into that in a second. But like I said, this is a network. So we have shows on the network. We have the main show featuring Joe, Tomo, and Dave every Tuesday and Friday, 7 to about 8:30ish. So make sure y'all check them out. We have Unfazed every Tuesday, 8 o'clock. No, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central. Make sure you check their pick'ems out as well. They do the NFL pick'em. Make sure you check them out. We have BWT, Baseball with Teddy. My Tigers are looking to choke the AL Central. It is absolutely disgusting. But make sure y'all tune into him whenever he drops his videos. Next, we have FFC Fantasy Football with Coach Coombs, who went live today. Week 4 of the NFL starts today in about 2 hours. Bills, Dolphins, absolutely disgusting game, but we're going to watch. Next, we have RBO, Real Baller Only, featuring Vaughn, or hosted by Vaughn, NBA. Make sure y'all tune in. Training camps and stuff should be starting soon. Got a little debate going on, Pat Bev, Trae Young, but anyway. Next, we have Dave's Doghouse, highlights and lowlights of sport. Make sure you check that out. The Joe Jordan Show. He's going live here and there, discussing topics. And last but not least, we have In the Red Corner, who just went live Sunday. They talked about the Terrence Crawford-Canelo fight boxing show, so make sure you check them out every other Sunday, especially before and after a major boxing event. Get your knowledge there. So that's all the shows we have on the network. Please like, comment, share, subscribe to those channels as well. And if you like what you're listening to, stick with us. I don't know what this one just did. Shout out my brother. He said week 3, let's go. Or let's get it. But we just recapping. Like I said, kind of a bad week for your boy. But we move on. So we got some upsets to go over in week 3 as I'm trying to get to my banners. Upsets. I'm a part of one of them, unfortunately. But we start with the team I'm wearing, Georgia Tech, upsetting Clemson 24-21. Now, I want to start this by saying everything in me told me to take Georgia Tech. Even on Twitter, it was a post saying who would be the upset this week. And I said, look, if I got to pick one, it's Georgia Tech over Clemson. The reason why I went with Clemson, one, is because I picked Clemson to win the ACC, so they needed that. And 2, I picked them to win in the preseason. But no more. I'm going off what I see now. Trying to find that healthy balance of going off my preseason prediction and then when to shift to when now I can pick off what I see. But Georgia Tech got the upset at home. Now move on to 3-0. Shout out to Coach Key and the Yellow Jackets. Shout out Haynes King. Now, what helped in the upset was that Clemson yet again started off slow. They went down 13-0, missed a field goal in between. They just started off real slow. They did come back to go up a point, 14-13. Georgia Tech takes a late game lead, 21-13 after a touchdown and 2-point conversion. Clemson goes down to tie it. but Georgia Tech kicks a game-winning field goal. Aiden Burr, as the time expires. I was questionable about the backfield for Clemson, and Adam Randall did a pretty good job out the backfield for Clemson. He did what not what I thought, but what I wanted. I wanted somebody to step up. Adam Randall stepped up. But Georgia Tech ultimately, again, started off faster, won the turnover battle. So those were two big things that led to the Georgia Tech win. James King, again, just unstoppable on the ground. When plays need to be made, he made them. And Georgia Tech was able to move the ball in the clutch. After a fumble, they had a touchdown, which the fumble was like in plus territory, a touchdown, and then the game-winning field goal. So when the rubber needed to meet the road, Georgia Tech's offense made the plays ultimately to win the game. Clemson, there's some concerns. 1 and 2. Now, granted, the two losses are to two really good teams in LSU and Clemson. LSU, though, looking a little shaky, too. I'm going to talk about that later on. But, yeah, some concerns in Clemson, while Georgia Tech, the buzz, no pun intended, is sky high. Next upset, we got to talk about it. Vanderbilt goes into Columbia, South Carolina against 11th ranked South Carolina and wins 31-7. Now, obviously, I picked South Carolina to win this game. Vanderbilt goes down and scores. South Carolina takes the ball and goes right back down and scores. Vanderbilt doesn't do anything in the second drive. South Carolina moving the ball again, but a key red zone interception killed the momentum for the Gamecocks. Lenore Sellers threw a bad interception. Well, it was more so like a defensive tackle. I think it was like simulated pressure. They blitzed the linebacker, dropped the D lineman. D lineman dropped right into the window of a slant, picked it off, and then the meltdown happened. Every third down. It just seemed like Vanderbilt got every third down, whether penalty, whether picking it up on the ground. Every big play after that just was made by the Commodores. They go 14-7. Lenore Sellers gets knocked out the game off a targeting late hit call. And it just went down there. Luke Doty tried to come in and rally the troops. It just was bad. Really bad. Vandy was 6-12 on third downs and 101 on fourth down. So 50% on third down, 100% obviously on fourth down. It's not a good recipe for the South Carolina defense. And Vandy won the turnover battle 4-1. So you mix that with not getting off the field on third downs. It's just a bad day at the office for South Carolina. South Carolina honestly looked lost when the Lenore Sellers went down. Got to fix that. Hopefully Lenore Sellers plays Saturday. And while we speaking about South Carolina, prayers up to Connor Shaw, who passed out allegedly while coaching his son. So hopefully Connor Shaw is in better condition. South Carolina legend, in my opinion. So hopefully all goes well there. South Carolina Nation is rooting for you. But yeah, bad game in general for South Carolina, who's now 2-1. While the Commodores of Vanderbilt is 3-0. So shout out to Vanderbilt. And the last upset we have to talk about. 16th ranked Texas A&M at the buzzer scores a touchdown to beat 8th ranked Notre Dame 41-40. I did pick Notre Dame to win. I was looking sweet. Then every time it looked like Notre Dame had a chance to pull away, Texas A&M would force a big stop, force a turnover, or at the end of the game, Notre Dame missed the extra point. Texas A&M made the extra point. Notre Dame went up 6. Got to make the extra point. Did not. So they had to keep him out the end zone. And on the last play of the drive for Texas A&M, 4th and goal, found someone in the end zone for a touchdown. Marcel Reed found him in the end zone to win the game, 41-40. Notre Dame, 2 second quarter turnovers, which reared their ugly head late in the game. Like I said, every time it looked like they had a chance to pull away, they would just turn the ball over. Something would happen to keep Texas A&M in the game. And Texas A&M, Mario Craver had an amazing day. His stats will be on major performances, so I won't say them now. But he had an absolutely stunner performance at wide receiver for the Texas A&M Aggies. But great win for Texas A&M. They trade home and home. Both teams won on the road in that home series. It was a great series nonetheless. But big win for Texas A&M. Huge win for Texas A&M. Big loss for Notre Dame. Now 0-2, playoffs, aspirations could be slim. So this is huge. Now we're gonna move on to some notable games, some games that that were pretty big, but they weren't upsets, obviously. Georgia, 6th ranked Georgia escapes Knoxville as they beat 15th ranked Tennessee 44-41 in overtime. Now, Tennessee missed the kick to win the game at regulation, which forced overtime. But nonetheless, we can't talk about the great drive that Gunnar Stockton and the Georgia Bulldogs went on down 8. I had to get the 2-point conversion to tie the game. So big ups to Georgia there. Georgia gave up 17 points in regulation after they gave up 21 points in the first quarter. So the first quarter, Tennessee came out blazing, put up 21 points. Shout out Chris Brazil. His stats will be amazing performances later. Dominant performance at receiver as well. I almost shed a tear. I was like, Chris Brazil finally got a quarterback that's willing to throw him the ball. I almost shed a tear. But yeah, Georgia defense buckled down after giving up 21 points in the first quarter, which is huge. So that was big. Georgia held Tennessee to a field goal in overtime. So basically it was, hey, we got double overtime right here already. We already got double overtime. Let's get the win. And Nate Frazier came out with a 21-yard run, and Josh McCray finished off the drive in the goal-to-go situation. Josh McCray is the sledgehammer back, per se, getting the short yardage needed. And, yeah, so big win. Both quarterbacks looked really good. Joey Aguilar looked good despite the 2 interceptions. Gunnar Stockton looked amazing as well. It looked like Tennessee won the trade, per se, but yeah, Joey Aguilar looked amazing for Tennessee. The Tennessee offense is really real. I mean, like they put up 45 against Syracuse, 70. I forgot against who was it? I forgot. I think it was like Tennessee Tech or something. Or UT Martin. It was some lower FCS school. But yeah, this offense is real. And to put up 41 points in overtime, really should have put up 41 in regulation to win it. I think this Tennessee offense answered the question if it's really real. So I know it's a loss. And it's a moral victory, but this offense is real for the Tennessee Volunteers. And they're a team to look out for in the SEC. Next, we got to talk about a low-scoring affair. And I told this Florida fan I know, his name is Leon. I told him, he's like, Carl, how can you I took it up to 10.5. I was like, he was like, how can you take Florida at 10.5? I just don't see it. Like, LSU looks so good. And I'm like, to be honest, LSU really not convincing me. Like, LSU, yeah, they shut out Clemson in the second half, but Clemson started off super slow against Troy, went down super early, and was potentially about to lose that game. And now the Georgia Tech game happened, they lose, they start off super slow. So I'm like, I don't know if LSU is really that. And they won the game, don't get me wrong, but LSU only won by 10 despite forcing 5 interceptions out of DJ Lagway. That's concerning for the LSU offense, if you ask me. That's if you ask me. So LSU did shut out another opponent in the second half, Florida. They shut out Florida in the second half. But while shutting them out in the second half, they only put up 3 points. The touchdown, that they got was in the third quarter, but it was a pick six. It was a pick six by, I believe, Deshaun Spears. Caught a pick six on DJ Lagway. So the offense really didn't generate many points in that second half. They only generated 3 points. So really, Florida, if we're being honest, they shot themselves in the foot all game. 5 interceptions is unacceptable. You can't have it. It's tough to win a game when you throw 5 picks. DJ Lagway knows that. It's looking bad for the Lagway era to start, but hey, a lot of season left. And yeah, that third quarter interception or third quarter pick six, I should say, put the game out of reach. But again, man, the LSU, it just seems like they can't put it together. LSU finally has a defense, but the offense is looking crazy suspect. Years past, LSU had a crazy offense, but the defense was suspect. It's just they can't get both sides of the ball together for whatever reason. They have the talent, especially on the offense this year. They just can't put it together for whatever reason. The backyard brawl is the next game. I'm 0 for 3 in the backyard brawl. I don't know what it is. I just can't get the backyard brawl. And I thought I was looking sweet. Pitt was up 24-17. They had the ball 4th and 4 on plus territory. I was thinking, I mean, they weren't in field goal range. They were kind of like in no man's land, which explains the delayed game before the punt. But I'm thinking it's 4th and 4, Pat Narduzzi had to have learned from the bowl game where he took the field goal instead of going for the touchdown to win it. He's going to drop his nuts, go for this 4th and 4, and ice the game. And what does he do? Take the delay game, punt the ball. Defense gives up an 87-yard touchdown drive, including like a big play on like 3rd and like 17 or something crazy like that on a cover 2 shot. It's just they don't learn. You got to be aggressive. You got to ice the game. West Virginia was actually taking the momentum in this game. I said, you have to go for it. Ice the game. He didn't. He punted. They force overtime. West Virginia gets the ball first on OT, scores a touchdown. Pitt goes the wrong way in overtime, and they lose the game. They lost the game. They had the game, and they lose the backyard brawl 31-24 in overtime. West Virginia fought and fought and fought. Ty Edwards had an amazing game on the ground. I asked who would step up for Jaheim White in his absence due to injury, and Ty Edwards did nothing but step up for the West Virginia Mountaineers as they improve to 2-1, while Pitt drops to 2-1. Should be 3-0, but hey, you gotta get aggressive, Pat. I don't know why he doesn't get aggressive. For the life of you, I can't explain it. But hopefully this game, when he's in another situation similar, they say 3rd time's the charm, he will get aggressive. But, and I do want to say this. I get Desmond Reed was out the game, but you got to trust Eli Holston. Raphael Williams had an amazing day. You got the receivers to go for this. Just didn't do it. And it came back to bite them in the behind as they lose 31-24. Next, we got to talk about Duke at Tulane. Tulane, my American Athletic Conference champion, now 3-0 on the season with wins against Duke and Northwestern. They play Ole Miss this week. I will talk about that game. But yeah, Tulane came out on fire, scoring touchdowns on both of their drives. They looked unstoppable. Duke came out slow again, missing field goals, not converting on 3rd downs. Couldn't get anything going for her in the passing game. Just came out sluggish. While Tulane, like I said, is on fire, running the ball very well with Jake Retzlaff. Jake Retzlaff on the ground just looked unstoppable. 4 touchdowns on a day for him on the ground at quarterback. Duke missed 2 field goals in the game. I can't remember when the second one happened. I want to say it was like 3rd quarter. But I was like, at this point, because Duke settled, it was like a 4th and probably, I think it was 4th where you can go for it. But it was like, want to take some points, and he missed. And I was like, at this point, bro, you just got to be aggressive. You got to go for it. This kicker is missing. He went 2 for 4. You got to go for it. You just got to start going for it. But when Duke, they cut it close. But when Duke got it to a close game, Jake Retzlaff magic happens again. He goes down the field and he scores. So Tulane's offense on the ground just with Jake Retzlaff in general just looks crazy. And the thing that really shocked me in the Duke Tulane game was the receivers. Shaz Preston had a day for receiver for the Tulane Green Wave. Now, the receiver, he didn't score a touchdown, but receivers hasn't done much in this Tulane offense, which is un-Tulane-like, to be completely honest. But Shaz Preston had a day against these Duke DBs, and now I thought the DBs for Duke would do a good job of getting off the field, seeing that Tulane's receivers hasn't done much up until this point. And just Tulane, well, Shaz Preston was just too much. So shout out to the Green Wave, another great win as they move to 3-0. They play Ole Miss in their last non-conference game, I believe, and then conference play should start for them. But a great win nonetheless for John Summerall and the Green Wave. And the last game I want to talk to you about, that's a notable game, late night, Minnesota 14 at Cal 27. I know I'm going to mispronounce it. Joran Kiwe Sagaputele has another great performance against a really good, really stout Minnesota defense. Now, this game was close throughout the entirety of the game. What blew the game open was the Coy Parrish muffed punt. He muffed a punt deep in Cal territory, well, deep in Minnesota territory, I should say. Cal recovers, and they go on to score on a short field. Huge muff punt there. But Cal also rattled off 17 straight points. Minnesota was up 14-10 for a while. Cal scores. They rattle off 17 straight points. and they get the W 27-14 against a really good defensive Minnesota team, like I said. Now, this was the game for me to see whether if the hype real with Jerron. And I was on the hype train. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I wasn't. Definitely, first time I seen him against Hawaii, I came on this show and big upped Jerron. But I wanted to see it against a really good defense in Minnesota, and he did an exceptional job. His performance is on major performances, so I will bring up the numbers later. But exceptional job by him. I think he's the quarterback that we all think he is, and he's going to do nothing but get better. So that was a great game by him. Minnesota only scored 7 points in each half. First half they scored 7. Second half they scored 7. So big ups to the Cal defense for that, because Drake Lindsey is a pretty decent quarterback himself. I do want to give the Cal defense credit. Cal defense for the past 2 years has actually been really good. Sent some guys to the league like Noah Williams and Teddy Buchanan. So I do want to big up this Cal defense. Again, another year for a good defense for Coach Wilcox and the defense. So I do want to mention them and give them a shout out as well. But ultimately, great game by Cal. I believe they're now 3-0. Now we're just going to talk about some games to mention. Won't get too in-depth about these. Just want to talk about them slightly. First game we're going to talk about was Friday night, Colorado at Houston. I did pick Colorado to win, basically because I picked them to win the preseason. But Houston, man, Connor Weidman, whenever they needed to play, he made it. Dean Connors made a play on a broken play. It was supposed to be like a reverse pass. I guess it wasn't there. I don't know. I think it was kind of there, but not enough. So he just took off and ran and got the touchdown. Houston just couldn't get off the Houston put up 20 points in the second half. Colorado couldn't get off the field. Colorado couldn't sustain a drive past like the first one where they got in enemy territory. I don't think they scored though, but really tough job for Colorado sustaining drives. Houston would get off the field, making big plays or a big penalty or something would happen. Next, we got K-State, 17 at Arizona. I would like to say me picking K-State to win the Big 12 is now cooked. I am cooked on that. That's not happening. K-State is just not who I thought they were. A lot of people were high on K-State, including myself. I was high on them because they returned Avery Johnson and Jace Brown. You bring in Dylan Edwards into the fold at running back. I just thought they might be a really good dynamic offense. Bring back a lot of pieces on defense. Thought they'd be a contender for the Big 12 with Arizona State, Iowa State, and possibly maybe BYU. But this loss to Arizona, starting off slow again, not putting up many points. Arizona jumped out 17-3. Arizona then only puts up 6 points, but K-State just could not make the plays available for them to come back and win. Arizona gets a big win there. South Florida gets absolutely dominated by Miami. I'm not going to say much there. South Florida overachieved to get here. I even said it myself. I had South Florida as a team to watch, but I didn't have them beating Florida. I definitely didn't have them beat Miami. Got blown out. Miami's defense is really talented this year. Carson Beck, they did force turnovers. Carson Beck did throw 2 interceptions, but offensively, they couldn't put much together to score. I said they had to keep it a low-scoring game. Miami put up 49. That's not a recipe for success for any team, let alone a team that's overachieving. So, got blown out there. Iowa State and Arkansas State was surprisingly close. Iowa State for a while looked like they were about to lose. Arkansas State was making big key third down conversions with Jalen Rayner. Just had a day on the ground. But Iowa State stepped up late game to make plays, scored a late game touchdown to go up 8 and got a necessary stop to win it. But, man, Arkansas State gave Iowa State a run for their money, especially offensively. So, I wanted to shout out Arkansas State in a loss, but making it a crazy game. Next, we have SMU, Missouri State, another explosive offense that got held to, 3 points at halftime, maybe, or 3 points at the end of one. It was like Missouri State was up for a long time in this game, way more time than they should have. Then SMU finally pulled away late, but this game don't indicate how much Missouri State was dominant in that first half. So I have to shout out to Missouri State defense for that. A great win for – not a great win for – this is a terrible win for SMU, but a great game for the Missouri State University program. We got Old Dominion upsetting Virginia Tech 45-26. This game was a blowout. This game was not close. It started up, I think, Virginia Tech was down 21-0. Kyron Drones got Coach Pry fired. It is what it is to me. I don't care. I'm going to say it. He got him fired. This is a terrible loss for Virginia Tech, who's now 0-3 on the season. I didn't have much high hopes for Virginia Tech, but it looks like Virginia Tech is this year's Florida State. Just a bad season so far for the guys. And this game kind of ultimately capitulates how the season looks for Virginia Tech. Just a bad loss. Next, we got Stanford actually getting the win against Boston College at home. Now, this game surprised me. I'm not going to lie. I didn't pick it. It wasn't really on my radar. I thought Boston College would have not an easy win, but I thought, you stop Michael Ford, you stop Stanford. But Michael Ford ran wild against Boston College. He had a day. His numbers won't be on major performances. And Boston College just couldn't get in the end zone. They were able to move the ball, but Stanford was basically playing bend but don't break defense. Now, my thing with Stanford, again, if you stop Michael Ford, Stanford's going to be easy to beat. I mean, Branson did not have the greatest of days. Again, excuse me, it's just Michael Ford had an amazing day on the ground. And they were able to beat Boston College. Surprising ACC win for me. Probably surprised the country, especially losing to Hawaii on the road, but great win for them. Next, we have USC 33 at Purdue 17, which is the last game I want to mention. And I want to mention this because Purdue in years past would have probably got blown out in this situation. But they were able to fight back and make this a close game. Now, I don't want to say close game because they lost by 16, but closer game, I will say. Bishop Fitzgerald had 2 interceptions. I forgot to put that in major performances, but I'll just shout him out here. Bishop Fitzgerald for USC had 2 interceptions. Ryan Brown didn't look that bad. Now, I know you're going to say he had 2 interceptions. That's bad, and it is. Don't get me wrong. But I think the first interception by Bishop Fitzgerald was just a great play. Both of them really was just a great play, reading the offense and breaking on the ball. But Ryan Brown did look he looked okay. He didn't look that bad to me. I'm not saying he's like some top tier quarterback. I'm not saying he's a good quarterback, but he didn't look that bad in the USC games to me. And that was the last game I wanted to mention before we get off into major performances. Now, I have like 20 to like 25 in that range. I didn't count, but based on what I see, that's how much I guesstimate. Let me get these hands ready. All right, so we're going to do major performances, and that'll be the end of the show today. So we're going to start with Hollywood Smith. 164 yards. Next, we got Mark Fletcher. 2 touchdowns. Gunnar Stockton, quarterback, Georgia, 23 of 31, 304 yards and 3 touchdowns. Chris Brazil, wide receiver, Tennessee, 6 catches, 177 yards and 3 touchdowns. Mario Craver, wide receiver, Texas A&M, 7 catches, 207 yards and a touchdown. Le'Veon Moss, running back, Texas A&M, 20 carries, 81 yards, and 3 touchdowns, Brian Westco, wide receiver, Clemson, 7 catches, 126 yards and a touchdown. Torrey Blaylock, running back, Oklahoma, 14 carries, 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. Taylon Green, quarterback, 22 of 35, 305 yards and a touchdown. 115 rushing yards and a touchdown for Arkansas, having 2 total touchdowns. Trinidad Chambliss, quarterback, 21 of 29, 353 yards and a touchdown. 62 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns, having 3 total touchdowns on the day for the Ole Miss quarterback. He did get hurt, but he did come back into the game. Cam Edwards, running back, UConn, 23 carries, 116 yards and 2 touchdowns. Trey Wallace, wide receiver, Ole Miss, 6 catches, 92 yards and a touchdown. Joe Silver, running back, Delaware. I don't know why it's not working. 15 carries, 179 yards and 2 touchdowns. Kyrie Duplessis, wide receiver, Delaware, 9 catches, 161 yards and a touchdown. Raphael Williams Jr., wide receiver, Pitt, 6 catches, 119 yards and a touchdown. Ty Edwards, running back, West Virginia, 25 carries, 141 yards and 3 touchdowns. Jake Retzlaff, quarterback, Tulane, 15 to 23, 245 yards with 111 yards on the ground and 4 rushing touchdowns on the day. Jerron Kiwe Sagaputele, quarterback, Cal, 24 to 38, 279 yards and 3 touchdowns. Reed Harris, wide receiver, Boston College, 7 catches, 141 yards. Micah Ford, running back, Stanford, 17 carries, 157 yards and a touchdown. Raleek Brown, running back, Arizona State, 12 carries, 144 yards and a touchdown. And Jordan Tyson, wide receiver, 6 catches, 105 yards and a touchdown for the Arizona State Sun Devils as well. Now, this is the end of this week in college football, week 3. I didn't talk about Ole Miss and Arkansas offensive firepower, just shootout. Trinidad Chambers looked absolutely amazing. Trinidad Chambers actually might have looked like he should be the starting quarterback over Austin Simmons, if I'm being honest. Just throwing it out there. But amazing day by him. But that is the end of the episode. I will be back Saturday. I'm gonna drop a reel. I'm gonna drop a short, about tomorrow's Rutgers Iowa game, and then I'll be back Saturday morning to talk about the Saturday Week 4 preview. So be on the lookout for that. But that is the end of CTC. Hopefully, my record for Week 4. That was supposed to say Week 3. I just realized it says Week 2. My Week 2, I went 11-3. It's supposed to say Week 3, but it is what it is. Hopefully, Week 4 is better than Week 3. But all right, y'all, I'm gone. Until next time, peace.
Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all in the next episode.